Hello and welcome to episode 442 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now, this is a massive interview for me, one that has actually been 365 days in the making. This is no lie. At last year's Download Festival, I was lucky enough to meet Paddy Considine. I was there and got a photo and fanboyed and was blown away by just getting the opportunity to meet someone that I think is probably one of the best British actors that we have. But while I was there, I thought I'd be cheeky and ask him if he'd like to come on Mark and Me. And he was all for it and really kind and everything that I'd wished for. But with everything getting in the way and being a very busy man and his music career, his acting career, everything that comes with being Paddy meant that it took a whole year for this interview to take place. But my God, it was worth the wait. And a year later, I can actually say, on today's episode, I'm joined by Paddy Considine. Now, the interview is brilliant. It was done in person at Download Festival last weekend. It was absolutely incredible. Paddy's band, Riding the Low, played. They're unbelievable. So if you ever get an opportunity to go and see them, people don't realise, but this band's been going 20 years and they're phenomenal. So go and check them out. But as always, I really wanted to respect my guest. You don't need to hear about how he got the role of Dead Man's Shoes again, what it's like to work on The World's End. You know it all. We don't need to keep asking the same questions. So today's interview is all about music, his life on the road with Riding the Low, playing festivals, what's inspired him to write music, and so much more. And that interview will be coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. But before I get to that interview, let's quickly touch base and talk about my last episode. I was joined by Morcheeba, an amazing band. The response was incredible. Thank you all for the amazing feedback, everyone that took the time to share it. I saw so many new listeners jump on board, so thank you again. It really means the world to me. But like I said, today's interview has took a whole year to make happen, but my God, it has been so much fun. I was so grateful to do it in person, so I think the best thing to do right now is to get straight to the interview. So here's me and Paddy Considine talking all things music.
Have you seen her lately, putting it about like that? See the light bulbs, light bulbs. Have you seen her lately, putting it about like that? See the light bulbs, light bulbs. Have you seen her lately, putting it...
So Paddy, 365 days ago, I saw you outside here and I said, do you want to come on Mark and Me? And you're like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And after Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks, which took me 14 months, you're now number 2 at the longest wait to come on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mark.
But it's happened.
It's happened at
and
last.
We're here now, and I'd rather do it in person.
Yeah, me too.
And I think it's true. Good things come to those that wait.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
of course.
But
No pressure.
I'm terrible for sort of go. Yeah, and I mean it. You know,
of course, man.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I could tell it was sincere.
And then months go by, and I'm a terrible emailer.
Don't worry.
But we're here.
We're here. Now, what I want to do, because I don't want to change the format just because you're on the podcast today.
Yeah.
I want to treat you like I've had Anthony Hopkins, Mads Mikkelsen, Kevin Smith, Chino.
God.
Every guest that comes on gets the same first question. And when you were growing up, and this is going to be nice because normally you get questions for acting.
Yeah.
What was the first album that you remember buying with your pocket money, or that was given to you by a friend or family?
Yeah.
But that first album that you remember being like, fuck me, this is amazing. Like,
it would have been Kings of the Wild Frontier by Adam and the Ants.
that's a huge first album.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And I remember then getting Prince Charming for Christmas, a
Oh,
couple of years
man.
later, and I was obsessed. Like when I was a kid, that was the thing for me. Like, I know people who are a little bit older than me, they talk about the Bowie thing when they saw him on Top of the Pops and how it transformed them. And for me as a little kid, it was just seeing them play Dog Eat Dog on Top of the Pops, and I just went, like, who are they? What's that? Why's that guy got a stripe on his face? And then I just had like this obsession, and I still love him to this. I've got Adam tattooed here on my arm.
Oh my God, that's a really beautiful tattoo as well.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to show me the word Adam. That looks great.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good one.
So live music, I'm 43. My first gig, my parents dropped me off. I was 13 years old. Wolverhampton Wolfram Hall.
What a legendary
Green
place.
Day, Dookie. That tour, it was fucking mind-blowing. I went
Yeah.
home that night. I was like, Mum, Dad, I want some green hair dye. I want a guitar, and I want to be a rock star. My dad's a bit like, son, you need to grow up and get a real job.
Yeah.
But I wondered if you had a great first introduction to a live music.
I don't really remember. As a kid, I never went to gigs, and for most of my teenage years, I never went to gigs.
No?
It just was something that I dreamed about. Oddly, it was weird. It was just something that was outside of our universe. You know, living
Yeah.
in Burton-on-Trent on a little council estate and that, and I didn't really know how you got to go to gigs. But you know, my first gig was the Dooleys at the Derby
Dooleys?
Assembly Rooms for
Wow.
a friend's birthday. You know, I must have been 6 years old or something. And I don't remember much about it other than they had this sort of James Bond skit bit, you know. But I remember the lights, and I remember something exciting even from that about the stage,
Yeah.
you know, and about thinking, I like that, I like what they're doing. But it wasn't the sort of show that made me go home and want to be a rock star. But like Prince,
it gave you an
probably.
impression that you were like,
Yeah,
this
it
is something I could do.
definitely did. Yeah, it definitely did. And my first big show I went to, I think, was Prince.
Oh my God.
Which is a big one.
Yeah.
You know. And it wasn't until I was a bit older that I was at college that I started to go and see lots of bands, you know, and I was among that kind of college world and culture a bit more, and then just didn't stop watching bands. And then 1990, when I was 16, I came here to watch Aerosmith.
Jesus.
Yeah, Whitesnake Downloaded. It was the Monsters of Rock then, so that was my first time over in this
Prince
hallowed
was one of
ground.
those gigs, so I feel like I'm cursed, okay? So I said to my wife, I want to go and see Tom Petty. Really wanted to see him, and I was like, do you know what, I'll leave it this year, I'm a bit skint, and then unfortunately he passed away, so I'll never get to see him.
Right.
George Michael played at Birmingham. I was like, I've got to go and see this. Actually, I've got some exams, I'll leave it. Passed it away.
Oh no, you're a bit of a jinx.
Prince, I never got a ticket. I tried, and then
Really?
obviously I don't even know what it would have been like for you to try and digest what a talent that was in front of you. Like, there is only one Prince.
Yeah, yeah. It was quite. It was around the time he did the Batman soundtrack, actually.
Oh wow.
You know, and it was that show, and I just thought it was mind blowing. I'm like,
Yeah.
how'd you do that? How'd you even become that?
I think there's only one person that ever does.
Yeah, I think so too. But my thing with music is it's been there from a very young age, and you know, started playing in bands when I was about 16 with Richard, who's the bass player in Light in the Low, and then played in Brit-pop bands in college in the 90s, and it was good fun. But I didn't start writing songs on my own till I was in my late 20s. My wife just happened to buy me a guitar
Right.
for Christmas, and I wondered why she'd even brought it me. I'm like, why have you brought this? And she goes, well, you're always picking your friend Craig's up and playing a few chords.
So here's your own.
Yeah, here's yours, you know. And I was like, well, I was a bit of an arsehole, really. I was like, oh, what am I going to do with that? And then a bizarre thing happened. She went to get ready for the day, and I wrote 2 little songs in the, you know, and she took hours to get ready. But you know,
You write a whole album by the time she's done. Yeah.
but there was 2 little songs there, and I was just like, you know, where's that come from, sort of thing. It wasn't in me. I had no desire to sing in a band.
No.
It happened after I became a massive fan, and still am, of Guided by Voices, and
Yeah.
I watched Guided by Voices live and went, I want that. I want to do that. I want my own band and my own gang. And
Yeah.
it just
I
sort
think-
of evolved.
I was driving here today and I was thinking to myself, and I mean it with full respect, the British public especially think that people should be in one lane.
Yeah, yeah.
You should be an actor, and that's all you should do, and we want to praise you and give you lots of recognition, but what are you doing
Yeah.
trying something else? And I know that obviously your band's been going, which people don't realise, 20 years.
20 years next year, yeah.
So I think people need to respect that people can try other things, but I sometimes think you've got a bit of an extra point to prove, because people think, well, you shouldn't be doing anything outside of acting.
yeah.
So do you sometimes feel like you've got a bit of a disadvantage? Because I think it's tricky when people say,
yeah.
okay, I'll come and give you the chance to prove me that you can actually sing or be in a band.
Yeah, it's a strange one, really.
It is.
It's like, you know, early on the comments were like, it was some wise arse who was like, you know, had commented at the time, you know, failed vanity project. And I'm like, well, we haven't even started yet. So
Give me a chance,
It
yeah.
hasn't failed. And if the objective was to play Wembley Stadium, then we failed.
Of course.
But that's not the objective. It's something that songwriting unlocks something inside me that I can access only fleetingly with acting.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it, really. And there was an odd sense of destiny about forming this band and naming this band, and it's never left me. There was a moment, my dad had died of cancer, and I brought him this book about Lee Marvin, and he'd written in it before he passed, and I sat in his chair where he used to sit, and my mum was opposite me, and I opened this book and started reading it, and it was about Lee Marvin and his relationship with his psychiatrist. And Lee talked about coming off films and, feeling depressed. Because it's a bit like joining the circus, and then all of a sudden the circus is gone, and you're going, what happened?
Where did it go? Yeah.
Yeah, particularly after my first ever film. Because you think everyone's family and friends, and they just disappear. And Lee and his psychiatrist called that period of time riding the low. And I remember reading that and turning to my mom and saying, that's the name of my band. I'm going to come. And it was only me. I didn't got the guys there.
No.
And I went, that's my band. I'm calling my band that. And my mom said to me, you were meant to read that. And there's just something about the power of that moment.
Yeah,
there was a truth and intention, and it was palpable. And I just went, yeah, that's what it's going to be. And that feeling hasn't left me in nearly 20 years.
I believe that's meant to be.
Yeah.
Massively. And it's like a nice memory as well. Like, that's something, like, even when you're talking about it now, I'm a bit like, oh man, that's like powerful. It's not just like, oh, we just put loads of names in a hat and picked it out and it sounded cool on a t-shirt or looked good,
Yeah.
That's really special.
Yeah, it meant something. And we've just carried on because our love of writing songs and playing shows. I mean, we just played in the tent, and we estimated 4,000 or 5,000 people possibly there. There might be but it looked rammed from where we were, and everyone was having a great time. And that's the proof. Don't just sit behind your keyboard. Come out and have a look at what we're doing. But I'm 51 now, and I don't feel like I'm not some old ass guy, but I don't feel like I've got anything to prove to anybody anymore about anything.
But I think that's a huge advantage. You haven't got to go out there and say to anybody there, take me seriously. You can just be like, I want to have fun, be with my people that I love, perform music, write music, and hopefully people get on board.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way. You haven't got to pay your mortgage because of a gig you've just done.
No. And it's the same for the guys. They're all in jobs. It's not just me. They're all in regular work. This thing would not, as it stands, pay these guys enough to be able to leave their work, and support their families. So, but
so it
we
shows
keep
that's
going
why
on.
you're doing it. You want it. You've got a hunger.
Yeah, we love doing it, and it's never gone away. I remember once being on a set with Simon Pegg, who I love. I love Simon.
Is this an Edgar Wright film we're talking
Yeah,
about?
it was. Yeah, we were on the set of The World's End, and we were shooting at Leavesden.
Yeah.
And Simon was like going, because he loves the movies.
Yeah.
And he was going, oh, look at this. Shut up, McFly.
Yeah.
And he's going, this is where they shot the Rancor scene in Star Wars, and this is where they did this and that. And then he sort of said, I love it, when you arrive in the morning and you get that feeling when they start to get the cameras out, the boxes and things like that. And I remember feeling a bit sort of down because I'm like, I don't feel like that. But I can stand in the wings for an hour and a half and watch the crew set the stage for Metallica coming on and feel this anticipation in here and watch them all with their pen lights.
Oh, man, yeah.
And just sort of go, oh, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And there's something I've always been compelled around music. I've always loved the anticipation of the show and the beginning of the show and that thing. I get a real thrill out of that.
So when you see yourself on a poster for Download, and I know it's not your first time you played in 2019, is it kind of a pinch me moment? Because I'm sure when you sat there and you got this name and you sat with your mum and said, I'm going to be riding the low, you got other musicians.
Yeah.
If I told you you're going to be playing Download with Green Day, Sleep Token, Korn, you must have been like, fuck off, I'm not doing that. Like that's a dream.
Yeah. It really is a dream.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And it doesn't matter how small our name is on the T-shirt,
it's still on there, man.
It's right down there at the bottom, and it like you say, it's on there. The biggest buzz was because I did the promo film for Download this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Andy Coppin and Glenn got me to do the promo, and it was a great experience working with them. They're great guys. I love Andy to bits, and basically I asked them. I said, you know, could we play? I said, it's not a deal breaker. I'll do your video for you.
But
I
any
said,
chance you can get me on, yeah.
Could we play? You know, and you've got to hustle a bit because we don't have any management, we don't have an agent, we don't have a label. We don't
I don't
have
think a lot of
anything.
people know that. I think they probably think that you're like ushered on and you got, oh, we'll get Paddy because it's Paddy. But
No.
I spoke to James, who organises 2,000 Trees,
Yeah,
a good friend of mine, and he said Paddy DM'd me
yeah,
and talked about playing the festival.
yeah.
People probably don't think that you are that much in control. You've not got a record label. You've not got a You told
No.
me today on email, I don't have a PR. Just grab me.
Yeah.
Like, that's showing you're doing it because you want to.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It is.
Mind-blowing.
We still enjoy it, and that's the main thing. 20 years later, the 4 core members are still there. The brotherhood's still there, and nobody's walked away. Nobody's gone, sod this, you know. Drummers have come and gone, but they do.
Do you still get nervous? I mean, today looking out, when you're going on that stage, you said you get that buzz of seeing set lists and the amps being set up like Simon Pegg does with cameras.
Yeah.
Are you do you have that adrenaline and that kind of, get me on fucking stage now? Or are you a bit like we've got to do this?
No, it's a thrill.
Yeah.
It's a thrill. It's a nice mix of all the things you said, but it's not
Yeah.
terrifying.
That's beautiful.
You know, it's not frightening. It's like we go out still and we've got a point to prove.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bit of that. So coming back earlier in contradicting myself, I suppose there is a little thing of us saying, you know, a little bit of a point to prove. And,
Yeah.
and saying, you know, come on, fucking have it. But we went out there and the crowd were joining in, singing songs, the words to songs, and we're going, how do you know the words to this? It was just one of those surprise gigs and surprise moments, really.
I think a lot of people don't realise as well is you're a huge fan of music,
Yeah.
comics. I see you at Comic Cons, I see you
Yeah.
go to conventions. And when you come to a festival like this after today and it's all kind of packed down and you get the come down of, oh, I'm not playing today, do you get to enjoy the weekend and say, do you know what, I really want to go and watch Sleep Soak and I really want to go and see Korn, I want to go and...
Oh man, we're all over it, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So I've got my kids here. After this, we'll go
Yeah.
out. We'll watch, you know, Weezer and Green Day, and we've got the whole weekend mapped out. And see
That's
the
beautiful,
Pistols
man.
Tomorrow, and we spend the whole weekend here because we live so close by as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we'll be here all weekend. I love it. I come to this festival as often as I can,
Yeah.
just to hang out. and
Anyone's
be a
like, do you want
part
to do a
of it.
film? You're like, is it in June? Does it happen during download? Because if it does,
Well, there is
I'm
a
not
bit of
doing it.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, when we played here the first time, this talk about, you know, commitment. We played the Dogtooth stage in 2019.
Yeah.
And I was shooting a show in Atlanta called The Outsider.
Yeah.
And they kind of neglected, like, the fact that we'd booked out this festival, and my agent had said he's not available on these dates, and they just ignored it. And so what I did was I shot on the Thursday night in a night shoot, left there, left the set, got straight on a plane, landed here in Manchester on Saturday morning, got home, loaded the car, came here. We played the Dogtooth stage at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, whatever it was.
Jet lag kicking in.
Yeah, got in the car. I had to go back, go to the airport and get on a plane and fly back.
No one can say you're not dedicated.
You know, that's Ozzy Osbourne levels.
Talking of Ozzy, have you got a ticket to this incredible gig in Aston Villa?
Do you know, we've got a clash.
No.
We've got a clash, yeah. I think it's the same day that Fontaine's DC are playing in Finsbury Park.
What a bloody double booking.
I know, and it was kind of booked out well before the Black Sabbath announcement, as I remember. So I'm going, oh no. I mean, you know, Fontaines are going to be around for a while, but it's going to be a special show.
Randomly
that
on the
one.
way here today, I was talking to Darren. We were driving here, and I said I'd pay about $250 to see that gig because we're talking about some people are paying thousands.
Yeah.
As we're here, they've just released production tickets, 250 quid, standing, general admission. And I turned around and I said, I can't do it. If I go home and tell my wife after I've been away for a whole weekend that I'm going again,
Yeah.
I'm going to regret that forever.
I know, because it's
That
the last
lineup
time.
is insane.
I know. The only consolation is I think they're not all doing a big set. Because when we first read
Yeah.
it, you look at it and go, fucking hell.
Surely Metallica are doing 2 songs, Guns N' Roses,
Yeah.
Tool will do half a song. You know what I mean?
It's got to be like that, hasn't
It's
it?
got to be.
You know, I can't see any other way of it working. But what a privilege. I mean, we got to see Ozzy here a few years ago when he played here last.
Yeah,
and
we were
thank
here. It
God,
was
you know,
brilliant.
we got to see him. And we had a fantastic night. But, yeah, I'm a bit gutted about it because it's not going to happen again.
And as far as music goes, for the listeners out there that want to then tune in and discover the band, Have you got any? I saw you played Rock City recently.
Yeah.
Have you got any more gigs in the near future that are kind of in the calendar? I know you've got 2,000 Trees.
We've got 2,000 Trees coming up. We've got Kendall Calling coming up. What else have we got, Chris? We've got Sonic. We've got Birmingham in October.
I'll come to that. That's not. I'm a Shropshire lad, so
are you?
not far. Yeah.
I'll come and see us. It'll
I
be
will
a fun
do.
one around
Yeah,
Halloween.
that'd be good.
We've got a gig in our hometown, a festival called Sonic Boom that Chris is massively involved in.
Nice.
They've got everything headlining that.
Oh, lovely.
So that'll be a good night.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of knock about and
See what's out there.
We had a great show in Manchester the other week at Gorilla, so we'll probably head back up into Manchester and see who wants it again. Probably try and get the Deaf Institute or something. We're a bit like that. We go with the wind a little bit. But we've got a new album. We've got an EP just come out.
Yep.
And we've got a new album that we're still sort of working on. We need someone really good to mix it.
If you're listening,
Yeah.
Gil Norton or some absolutely amazing, yeah. Andy Wallace, if you want to get involved.
Please get involved.
Yeah.
On a budget.
That would be good. 50 quid and a t-shirt. But I suppose that's my last question. Well, a couple of last questions, actually. I'm going to cheat and get 2 last questions. Juggling acting and then music. Is it really hard to kind of switch modes? I mean, are you sometimes on set and thinking, I've got a song inside me and I really want to get to my trailer and put this idea down? Because surely you've got a laptop and you're thinking,
Yeah.
I want to demo something.
Yeah.
But you've got to be, I'm an actor, I've got a script, I've got to go into role. Is it like, I want to switch right now and I can't? Or
Just that's what the old, these phones.
yeah. Voice
you
notes.
just get the voice note.
Yeah.
And if a melody or idea comes or anything, then off you go, And the last show I shot was a show called Mobland. And, there was a lot of schedule changes. And every time they changed the schedule, I just booked in the studio and did the vocals on the album, and made advantage of the time being in London. So I'm always finding ways to do things. And I'm mostly right, actually, when I am working. Which is kind of interesting, but a lot of ideas come to me, and I think probably because I've got a lot of time on my own,
Yeah.
that I'm able to sort of go back to my flat or whatever and just get the headphones on and absorb it all. And hello, mate.
Look
How
at
are ya?
this.
Nice to meet you, man.
It's a bit of McFly.
Bro, like legend.
You can come on my podcast now because you just interrupted us, so you can come on.
do his podcast.
There you go.
Oh, definitely, mate. I'm
on
around.
the podcast. But yeah.
Oh, mate.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you like the fact that you can then switch modes, add bits in, get your laptop out, voice notes, get some demos down.
Absolutely. It's all the same thing to me.
Yeah.
There's no sort of separation, oddly. There's no separation in it, music and acting. It kind of, in the best acting roles I've had, and I've written and directed a couple of things, that, along with the music, it all comes from the same place. It's not a different thing. I'm not strutting up there talking about things that, I don't know about, or being random or trying to be
No, it's
interesting.
true.
It's just stuff that passes through, and on a kind of higher level, I'm kind of addicted to it because it's my connection to something that's quite sort of personal and spiritual in a way.
Yeah.
I love it. The lyrics come out of me and I don't have to think about them.
That's the magical thing,
Yeah, and that's the thing that I love.
Because I think sometimes people think too hard and then it doesn't seem... I'm not saying it's not legit, but if you think too hard about what you're trying to say,
Yeah.
isn't it better that it just naturally comes from you, so it's actually real?
Yeah. And then when you do that as well, you
It's
sort of-
authentic.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
authentic. And then you'll listen to a song you've written about a year later and go, shit, I didn't even realise that's what I was trying to say. I just let it come
It's
through.
a snapshot of the time, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Massively.
And now it's poignant in some way.
And are you thinking of... You mentioned then about writing and directing. I don't want to talk about film. I like this being music,
Yeah.
but stuff like Journeyman, is there another film inside you where you're like, I want to sit down and write and direct again?
Yeah, there is. There definitely is.
Because that's too much of a masterpiece just to be like a one-off. You need to keep going.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing a Q&A in London next week of the first film I wrote and directed called Tyrannosaur.
That's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, and I'm just sort of like, I have to. If I don't, my daughter will kill me if I don't write and
Yeah.
direct again. But I need to.
Yeah.
I do need to write and direct again. But even with that, I get the guys in. They did the music for Tyrannosaur, the guys in
Yeah.
the band. So I like to include everybody, in the family and in the work. But yeah, I definitely have to write and direct another film, yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
And my final question is, I know this has happened to every single person that's been on, as this interview is all edited and ready for the world to listen to, I'll have some of your Ride in the Low play.
Yeah.
I'll have our interview, and then a piece of music plays at the very end of our episode, okay? And it can be a piece of music that means a lot to you. And I've asked this question to Chino, to every single guest I've mentioned to you.
Yeah.
But you get to choose a song that really means something to you. So when I ask you the question, I wonder what the song is that came to your heart and your kind of soul that you want to be played out just as this interview fades out.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to choose Life is a Pigsty by Morrissey.
Oh,
It's
huge.
Stunning. It's
Yeah.
such a stunning song. And the second half of it, how it segues into that, it just collapses me.
Yeah.
And it's there's so much beautifully that's beautifully lyrically that's going on, that's very beautiful, but it's just that line, even now in the final hour of my life I'm falling in love again. And I think there's such sort of hope and beauty in that line. I mean, Morrissey
It's so
floors
inspiring.
me.
Yeah. Jeff Buckley does that for me.
Yeah.
I like, when I hear his lyrics, I think, I don't know how you could get yourself in that world. They're just so, in my
It's
world, so
ethereal.
elevated. I don't know how
Yeah.
you do it.
It is something else. It's spiritually something else. It's like, people throw the word genius around with Morrissey, and he absolutely, he is. He'd probably scoff at that if anybody called him it, but my God, that song, it brings me to tears every time.
It's been a long time coming, literally a year, but I'm glad that we've sat down. I'm so grateful for your time.
Me too.
Over emails, man, I was thinking, I really hope this happens. I was sitting there thinking, it seems like it's going to, and I didn't want to tell my guys today, like, it's going to happen until we're here. But I just want you to know how much it means to me. Like, I've done this podcast for 9 years,
mate.
and when I started out, I was like, I need this guy in my podcast. Like, it's going to happen when the time's right. So I'm really
Yeah.
glad and grateful for you coming here today. It
Thank
means
you,
the world,
mate.
man.
No, thank you. For
And I wanted to respect you and not just talk about acting. How many
Yeah.
times you've been talked about Dead Man's Shoes?
I know.
You must
I
be
know.
like, I just want to talk about something different.
It's, there's a time and a place, but
Yeah.
I also expect it. It's not like I turn up and I expect that people are just going to want to talk about the music, and I'm not going to throw some fit about it.
No.
We're not a particularly well-known band, but
But isn't it refreshing just to talk about something different?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just nice to talk about something different, and for me, the music's so important, but also I don't want to be out there flogging it and
No.
trying to authenticate myself.
Just
It's
let the music do the talking. Let your performances keep getting
Yeah.
bigger. If I told you your tent's going to be full today, you're going to go there, it's going to be absolutely a magical weekend, you'd be like, is it? And now you've proved it.
Yeah,
And that's
now
all
it's
that matters.
happened. Yeah,
And now you can switch off, not worry about a performance, and go and enjoy the weekend.
yeah,
And that's what Download's about.
it is. It's a great festival. I love it here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Mark.
Set your evils down. Set them all aside. Make them go away. Back into a dark, dark place. I can see you clear.
So there's my interview with me and Paddy, with a guest appearance from Danny from McFly, who decided to bombard the interview, tell Paddy how much he loved him, how much he loved Dead Man's Shoes, and I'm going to hold him to now coming on Mark and Me for sabotaging the interview, and yeah, I think that's fair. So Danny, if you're listening to this, I'm waiting for your call, and you'll be on the podcast, I hope, very soon. But my God, I've waited a year to interview Paddy, and it was everything and more that I could ever wish for. What a beautiful human being, what a kind soul, an absolute legend within the acting world, and he's conquering the music scene still 20 years later. The response to his band this weekend, Ride in the Low, was phenomenal. It was so good, and I really do hope that they go on to even bigger gigs, more festivals, and I can't wait to see them at 2000 Trees next month. I'll be there, and if you ever see any of his gigs advertised, get yourself a ticket and support this absolute legend. Right guys, if you've enjoyed today's interview and you're new to Mark and Me, I always ask each and every one of you to take the time just to share these episodes. It doesn't cost you any money to do, it's literally the click of a button on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use, or just tell someone in the street, wherever you are, about this episode. People will know Paddy's work, people will know his face. As soon as they see the logo of Mark and Me and see it, they might just click that play button, and before you know it, they subscribe to Mark and Me, and I've got a listener for life just for you at home clicking a couple of buttons. So I really do appreciate it if you can share this episode, and it goes such a long way. I also want to say a massive thanks to Paddy for coming on the podcast. It took a year, but it was absolutely worth every day that I waited, and I'm so grateful, and I really hope our paths cross again at 2,000 trees. Also, if you want to support Mark and me, go on markandme.com. There's a link on there to my Patreon account. You can sign up and get a welcome pack, which includes a pin badge, stickers, a monthly newsletter, and coming very soon, exclusive episodes called The Lost Tapes, which are only for people that come and support me on Patreon. And basically, no one else will get to hear them, only you guys. So it really is an exclusive episode, and they're called The Lost Tapes. Before I go, let's give a shout out to the sponsors of Mark and Me. Firstly, Richer Sounds. If you want some headphones or some incredible audio gear or a new TV, why not go on richersounds.com or visit any of their high street stores. They will not be beaten on price and are the best guys out there. And secondly, Vice Press. Those guys have the best movie prints out there. They're all legit. They're all licensed and they're from the best artists in the world. And if you go on to vicepress.com and add anything into your basket, you will get yourself 10% off if you use the code MarkandMe10. Right guys, I'm going to have to go now because I've got loads of interviews to edit from this weekend at Download. It was absolutely chaotic, but honestly, I've got the blues big time because I miss festivals, and now it's festival season. I get to see all my friends, all these great people in crew, and it's just been bliss. So for the last 24 hours I felt pretty blue, but I'm so glad to get this interview out. It's cheered me up and I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as me. So until the Download specials are out, look after yourself, take care. Go and listen to Paddy's band called Ride in the Low, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
Same old SOS, but with brand new broken fortunes. And once again I turn to you. Once again I do. I turn to you. Same old SOS, but with brand new broken fortunes. I'm the same underneath, but this you surely knew. Life is a pigsty. Life is a pigsty. Life is a pigsty. Can you please stop time? Can you stop the pain?